Hello and welcome to yet another game on pizza. This is the last one, and this one we got Zock. Definitely one of the favorites, no matter where he plays. He's going cybran, so it's nice to see respect for cybran. Rock was the other player who played cybran here, and Rock actually won. Looks like Zock is going second air and taking on Chevalier, who came through in the selectionals. He was the third player to go in the selectionals. Had to beat some pretty good players to get here. Very good player playing a Seraphim, so a little more orthodox. And I guess with Zock, some news. He was part of the team. It was a team that went to sentence Lucian, Voodoo, Zock, and Eisen. It seems like a very good team, and they did take on some sentence pros and beat their ass, which basically, in my opinion, relegates sentence down to a noob status. And Zock was very much instrumental in that one, putting really good pressure. Of course, Lucian most likely the MVP, and Voodoo with excellent mid play, and of course Eisen staying up with Sith in terms of ASF. So it's a sad day for all Sentence fans. But coming back to this one, this is the last game of round one to determine who goes in round two. And in round two, Theta, second version of Theta, is going to be the map. He's already got some really good matchups like Uber Geek versus Rock. That's I think every single game they've ever played is excellent quality, so looking forward to that one. See Chevalier here going with interceptors. Interceptor for Zock, so both players very careful. Zock using Siren to go very quick engineers here. He's going to try to establish a base, and the ACU for Zock also going over to this bottom slice. Now bomber from Zock. Perhaps he'll run into some interceptors. You can see an attack move here from Chevalier. See how that works against that patrolling interceptor from Zock. Looks like Zock is taking that away. And no bombers. It's a bit of an air fight here. Looks like Zock should be able to take care of the problem. Be nice to bomb that engineer if you're Chevalier, but probably should take that bomber away. Not much hope. See both players doing this. See a bomber here from Zock, but actually no expanding engines here. It's very surprising. There's only one expansion engine here from Chevalier. He looks like he's going to get that factory built. Actually, we saw a very nice play here from both players. You can see they're watching what they're doing, but total domination here for Zock. A bomber from Chevalier actually directly in gets 2 kills right on the middle slice for Zock. Of course, here the bomber is not going to take care of ACU. Zock should claim this to himself, but Chevalier definitely knows that this has happened, and very important factories here for Zock. So Zock has got a very nice foothold on 2 of his expansions, and now Zock coming in with a transport. Looks like a bit of misdirection there. Instead of going to this slice, he's going to switch. Perhaps he saw this factory and saw that there was no expansion to this factory, and it should be a successful drop unless Chevalier can take care of it. You can see that was very nice play there. We can see Zock sent his interceptors to the bottom here and to the transport there, so perhaps forcing Chevalier to think the drop was going to come to this bottom slice. And here's a successful drop there from Zock, making land factories. And looks like it'll be a victory in terms of air as well. So 4 of the slices now are going to belong to Zock. That's bad problems for Chevalier. Now Chevalier moving out with this floating arty, that's a very powerful weapon against most factions. Of course, one great thing about Cybran is this Tech 1 gunship, and this will demolish your artillery, and it's really quick. You can see now at the front lines, this Tech 1 floating flak is really powerful against Tech 1 armies which don't have the capacity to use gunships. But now with these gunships, you can't really do much. So that's one advantage that Cybran has. Looks like a drop here, perhaps from Chevalier, thinking about what he can do. Yeah, he dropped off some engineers here on the slice, so he's going to challenge Zock for his expansion, but Zock really took it as if it's his own. And here you see the gestures from Zock. A big headache for anybody who plays Cybran is that gesture. Some people say the bomber is just as good with all those multiple drops, but this is what a bomber can't do efficiently. It's really nice to see bombing now for Chevalier. perhaps trying to put up a challenge here for this slice, but as soon as Zock sends some gestures in here, there won't be any more trouble. Of course, plenty of land factories. And now it looks like the ACU for Zock is just picking up some mass extractors. Very dangerous place. Of course, this is quite early, but don't really want your ACU in the middle of the map. Looks like Navy now for Zock as well. Some frigates and some submarines. Interesting placement. Looks like Zock is going to take over this choke point with Navy, and that's going to further separate Chevalier from one of his expansions. Now looking at bases here, minute 2, still just Tech 1, plenty of power. Actually no, Tech 2. Tech 2 air from Chevalier. Going with Tech 2 power. Zock sitting at Tech 2 air as well. Multiple Tech 1 air factories, nice spam, plenty of T3. So it looks like we gotta say Chevalier is a little quicker to Tech 2 power than Zock. Of course, map control. Now we see the Manti, another good weapon against artillery. This is just engineers. And hidden base here for Chevalier again. So Chevalier doing good things here. Secret bases on 2 different slices that don't belong to him. And now frigates, and of course frigates, yet another great weapon against floating arty. We saw Funk use those in a previous game in case you haven't seen that. And Tech 2 power now for Zock. Of course, with Tech 2 air for Cybran. Some of my favorite bombers, most likely my favorite, the Tech 2 bomber from Cybran, definitely my favorite. So good against Navy. Really nice at sniping. Very hard to dodge because of the angle attack, and you can see now the gestures is taking over. This is the only faction who can do this at Tech 1, and that's exactly what Zock is doing. And when you're playing against Zock and you start losing, it's a very bad feeling. You know you're pretty much screwed because he does not make mistakes. But this is going to be a nice attack. It's floating arty. Can't defend against it with point defense. This is actually a Tech 2 factory here from Zock. This could be a big loss for Zock if this floating arty takes care of it. And it looks like these Manti are out of position. Tech 2 Navy with some submarines. Surprising we're seeing submarines. Why would Zock make stealth submarines? But he is doing it, and he probably has good reasons. These gestures continue to make attacks, and of course you never want to forget about actually it's Corsairs. Yeah, my favorite bombers are coming out for Zock. Really enjoying this one. The gunships for Cybran also extremely good with a splash damage, so very good against large numbers of groups. But so far these gestures just deadly. 3 kills for this one, 8 for the other, 12 for this one. Just murdering. Yeah. Chevalier trying to get air, but actually Chevalier with some Tech 2 bombers of his own. Those are also very nice bombers, but not nearly as good as the Cybran, especially against Navy. Perhaps a little better at sniping ACUs, but not against other units. This is actually a very even air battle, and if Chevalier can get air back, he can counter all those cruisers and perhaps start using his floating arty. And Chevalier crawling his way back with that floating arty. Now here are the T2 bombers, the Corsairs, picking off a few of those artilleries. Surprising that actually Zock went with the bombers instead of the gunships. Gunships would take care of this problem much quicker. Of course, those bombers, you can literally use them to snipe at targets at Chevalier's base. Here we see this is a 2000 health generator, so 3 of those Corsairs with direct hit will take that out. And you can see that Zock definitely has at least 3, so 6 or 7 of those come in here, a bombing run, and you shut down all the power in Chevalier's base. That's the power of the Tech 2 bomber. Jester's still going to work. 16 kills, 15 kills, ridiculous. And a cruiser now. This is more. This makes a lot more sense for Zock with cruisers. He's got a bunch of stealth submarines. Perhaps he's expecting for Chevalier to run into the ocean. It'd be a crazy move from Chevalier, but really no other reason to put that submarine, unless there's something I don't know about it. It's got torpedoes, submersible, it's got sonar. Of course it's invisible. Yet another air battle here between Chevalier and Zock. These Corsairs racking up kills. And now cruiser. Cybran cruisers. Some say it's the best. It's got the longest range of direct fire between any cruisers. It is missing cruise missiles. It does have air staging. It has excellent TMD. And one of the best aspects of this cruiser, if you click on it, actually I guess we don't get that option because we're watching, you can take this anti-air gun that he's got on it and direct it against land units, which is especially good against breaking shields. You can get really high damage per second from both the anti-air gun and the direct fire gun on that cruiser. Really a beautiful unit. The value I don't see it nearly as much because Cybran Navy is pretty much overpowered by others with Tech 3 Navy and of course with shields. 32 kills on the Jester. Oh my god, it's gonna die. That's tragic. That was a hero. Of course now we're seeing the Wangers. Tanks that can go on ocean floors. Now with these cruisers, Zock really has this in control. After 20 minutes, Chevalier just getting demolished. He crawled his way back on that expansion, but have major problems on his other. With these Wangers, really not much that can be done. Tech 1 bombers, but way too much health on these. You can see 1400 health. It's a big chunk of mass. 1400 health, that's 10 times as much as an Aurora. So you can see that it's a very nice unit. A nice cruiser spam. It looks like Zock getting upgrades. Curious to see what that is, perhaps stealth. And now T3 air. Forgot to look at Zock's base, but he's using his gunships. Of course, these whalers, another great Cybran unit. One great thing about it is it makes fake radar signatures on your opponent's radar, kind of like the Tech 1 frigate. If you look at Chevalier's radar, you see there's multiple units moving here, but it's actually just a single unit. So a couple of those will make your Air Force look much bigger on radar if you want to scare people. Drop here from Chevalier, not clear what they're going to try to do. Engineer on engineer battle, perhaps. It's an opportunity for Zock to capture some Seraphim technology if he wants to. And of course these cruisers moving in position and getting massive kills. So Zock should be thinking about the end game here. Going Tech 3 Navy. So that's interesting that Zock chooses to go Tech 3 Navy on a map like this. Of course on Pizza, we gotta say Tech 3 Navy does have its place here with its long range, especially for Cybran. With others you can probably just go with the cruisers, can reach most of these mass points, but for Cybran Navy, if you want range, you really gotta go with a battleship. And one big difference, the build time in the later versions of the game, not in 359, is half than what it was in 3599. So you can see this battleship would be still about here with this much build capacity from Zock if this was 3599. I guess the difference is that it only looks half as badass as it would look in 3599. That's just my opinion. But it's nice to see that Zock is choosing to make that. But it looks like the battleship won't be needed. We're now seeing the end of round 1 of the IMBA Cup 2. Chevalier will be the last player killed. We see the Strat bombers. Seraphim shields will give you a lot of time. And of course on this map, once again, whoever wins the air has just a huge advantage. Let's see, is that battleship going to be finished? Yes, it is. And Chevalier basically throws in the towel. I'm very excited about round 2. It's going to be, I think, much more fun. I'm really tired of Pizza. It's just a crazy map. It's going to be a lot more focused on the other maps on Theta 2. Hopefully people enjoyed it. I definitely did. And Zock, Lucian, Voodoo, and Eisen,
changed Settons history, unfortunately, for all the Settons fans.